Have you ever stepped onto a train, thinking it would be nothing more than a quiet ride, only to discover your life would never feel the same again? That's what happened to me that night. I thought it would just be a routine journey, a simple trip from one city to another. But when the doors closed and the train lurched forward, I had no idea I was stepping into a story that would stay with me forever. The first sign was the compartment. I should have known the second I opened the door that this night would be different. Instead of the two narrow beds I expected, there was only one bed tucked against the wall under a flickering nightlight. And he was already there. His name was Daniel. I only knew because he tossed his ticket onto the small shelf near the window. He was tall, broad-shouldered, dark-haired, with the kind of rugged look you see in whiskey ads and magazine spreads. Not the sort of man you expect to find crammed into a train car with you. The attendant apologized quickly. Something about overbooking, just for the night. She promised it wouldn't happen again, but by then my eyes had already lingered too long on him. Daniel gave me a half-smile, the kind that says he's used to people looking at him. "Guess we'll have to make do," he said, his voice low, rich, the kind of voice that warms you even when the air feels cool. I settled in, telling myself it was fine. But then the train shifted with a sudden jerk, and his knee brushed against mine. Not by accident. Or maybe it was, but neither of us pulled away. That's when I realized this ride wasn't going to be like any other. A few minutes later, Daniel pulled out a bottle of wine. He didn't offer it right away. He looked at me first, like he was testing me, waiting for me to decide if I wanted to share. Finally, he held it out, his fingers brushing mine when I took the glass. It should have been nothing, just an innocent touch. But the way his skin lingered against mine made my pulse skip. I tried to distract myself by reading. I opened a book, but the words blurred. The compartment was too warm, too close. And every time Daniel moved, I caught his scent, clean linen mixed with cedar and something darker. The kind of scent that stays in your memory long after the person is gone. Outside, the night rushed past in shadows. Inside, the air thickened. He stretched once, his arm grazing my shoulder. I didn't move away. Not this time. That was the moment I knew I wasn't going to play the good girl tonight. The wine was heavy on my tongue, sweeter than I expected. His eyes followed every small movement I made, when I tucked my hair behind my ear, when I shifted my legs. No one had looked at me like that in years. Like I was something worth savoring. "Don't talk much, do you?" he said softly, his voice almost lost under the rumble of the train. "Neither do you," I answered, tracing the rim of my glass. His laugh was rough and warm, like it came from somewhere deep inside. He reached for the bottle again, and our fingers touched a second time. Again, I didn't pull away. We spoke about little things after that, cities we'd seen, the terrible food trains always served, meaningless topics. But underneath, there was something else. A current running between us, steady and undeniable. Each word was charged. Each glance lingered longer than it should. At one point, he leaned closer to hear me better, his breath skimming the side of my neck. My pulse quickened. "You're not what I expected," he murmured. I should have asked what he meant, but instead I tilted my head, just slightly, just enough for him to catch the faint trail of my perfume. A silent invitation. His hand moved then, settling just behind me. Not touching, but close enough that I felt the heat of him through the thin fabric of my dress. The train swayed, nudging us closer together. Our mouths were suddenly just a breath apart. The intercom crackled with some station announcement, breaking the spell, but Daniel didn't move away. Instead, he brushed his thumb across my knuckles, slow, deliberate. "Tell me to stop," he whispered. But I didn't. The train curved, and his arm came around me instinctively, his palm firm against my ribs, holding me steady. Neither of us moved. Rain tapped softly against the window, muting the world outside, leaving only us in that small, dimly lit room. His thumb traced slow circles just below my shoulder, and when I looked up at him, the expression in his eyes undid me. Hunger, yes, but restrained, reverent, as if he was afraid to ruin something fragile. His hand lifted, fingers brushing my jaw, rough but careful. His lips touched the side of my temple, not quite a kiss, just heat, just intent. The space between us shrank until there was nothing left. I could feel the tension coil in his thigh pressed against mine, the sharp edge of longing pulling us both closer. When his mouth finally found mine, it wasn't rushed or careless. It was deliberate, like he had been waiting for this exact moment. My breath hitched as I leaned into him, and the train rocked gently, carrying us forward as if guiding us. We didn't speak. We didn't need to. The rhythm of the train, the rain against the glass, the thundering of my own heart, all of it wrapped around us, making everything else disappear. Hours passed in moments, or maybe moments stretched into hours, I couldn't tell. All I know is that by the time exhaustion claimed me, I was curled against him, his arm draped protectively around me, his breath warm against the back of my neck. I listened to it until sleep finally pulled me under. When I woke, morning light spilled into the compartment. The world outside rushed by in blurs of green and grey. Inside, though, everything felt still. His fingers twitched against my hip, and I lay perfectly still, memorizing the feel of him against me. He stirred when sunlight touched his face. His lips brushed my shoulder in a fleeting kiss, soft, silent. No words. Because words would make it real. And real meant consequences. As the next station approached, Daniel sighed. His grip tightened around me for one brief moment, then loosened. We dressed in silence, every movement deliberate, reluctant. On the platform, surrounded by strangers, he turned to me one last time. He pressed a folded train ticket into my palm. On the back, a phone number scrawled in his handwriting. "If you ever want to get lost again," he murmured. His eyes held mine for a heartbeat too long. Then he was gone, swallowed by the crowd. I stood there, the ticket burning in my hand like a promise. And for the first time in years, I wondered if maybe, just maybe, I didn't want to be found.